$6. That's what this Lamine Yamal sports card NFT was selling for at the beginning of this year in 2025. Yes, just $6, the price of a cup of coffee. Now, this same sports card NFT is selling for $250. And that's just one example using his quote unquote base card on the Panini blockchain. In fact, there are 12 main parallels and variations of Lamine Yamal on the Panini blockchain. And if I just purchased one of each at the beginning of 2025, it would have cost me about $1,900. Today, those same 12 NFTs is worth about $12,000. I'm not talking about meme coins. I'm not talking about the next hot stock tip. I'm talking sports card NFTs. And specifically, I'm talking about one 18-year-old kid who has absolutely lived up to every expectation we have of what's possible on the Panini blockchain. His name is Lamine Yamal, and today I'm going to break down why his NFTs specifically tell the entire story of what's been going on with Panini blockchain in 2025. And if you're someone who's a little cynical and thinks, you know what, NFTs are dead, stick around because I'm going to show you some data that might start to change your mind. Okay, if you're a sports fan or a collector, I don't need to talk to you about Lamine Yamal. You already know. Generational talent, global superstar, and the World Cup is around the corner in 2026. What I do want to talk to you about is why his NFTs are the perfect case study to understand what's going on and happening on the Panini blockchain right now. Because if you were to pick one athlete, one player to chart the success and highlight what's happening on the Panini blockchain in 2025, it would be Lamine Yamal. Global player, global demand, global marketplace. Let's get into the data. All right, this is where it gets really interesting. I went back and analyzed 12 different Lamine Yamal sports card NFTs on the Panini blockchain. Now, I specifically excluded like the out of 10 golds like you see here, or the out of 8 white sparkles. I wanted to focus on the cards that are still very scarce, but more widely collected. And what I did was I went back to the beginning of 2025 to see what they were selling for. Now, if you purchased each one of these 12 at the beginning of 2025, it would set you back approximately $1,900, $1,929 to be exact, based on my calculations. Today, those 12 cards would be selling for approximately $12,000. That is an increase of over 500% in just 1 year with, yes, sports card NFTs. Now, here's the part that really blows my mind. The base card, essentially the base card, the least scarce Lamine Yamal sports card NFT is this one right here. It's the orange variation, which has a total mint count of 241. The beginning of this year, this particular sports card NFT was selling for $6. Today, it's selling for $250. A $6 what the Panini blockchain would really consider the base card. It's the least scarce variation of the Lamine Yamal NFT, turning into $250. This doesn't happen in the physical world. You try to avoid base cards when you're ripping packs. It's cards that you give to your kids, you throw in a shoebox, or you throw in the bin. But on the Panini blockchain, and I've been screaming about this all year in all of my videos, base cards matter. So why is this happening on the Panini blockchain specifically? Why are sports card NFTs appreciating like this? First of all, real scarcity. Every NFT on the Panini blockchain is numbered, every single one of them. The transparency is crystal clear. You're not waiting months or years for even the PSA population or the BGS population to catch up to let you know what the scarcity of a particular card actually is. From the moment the set is minted, everyone knows exactly how many exist. And to that point, there's no third-party grading needed to add that extra layer of scarcity. In the physical world, you get your card and you have to send it into grading. You pay the fees, you wait the weeks, sometimes months, and you're hoping for that 10. Until that happens, the scarcity isn't really locked in yet. On the Panini blockchain, the scarcity is built into the card itself. It's baked in from day one. An out of 50 is an out of 50, period. No grading, no waiting, no subjectivity. The scarcity and the condition are just there. And second, global accessibility. And this is huge when we're talking about a player like Lamine Yamal. Here's the thing, Yamal is a global superstar. He has fans in Europe, Africa, Asia, North America, everywhere. And soccer is the world sport, and he's one of the biggest young superstars. Now think of all of these physical sports card collectors in all these different countries or regions trying to collect amongst themselves, but there's massive barriers. Shipping costs, customs, tariffs, or eBay sellers won't even ship internationally. It can be a nightmare. But on the Panini blockchain, someone in Asia and someone in Iowa can be completely on equal footing. You can buy, sell, and transfer ownership in mere seconds. For a truly global athlete like Yamal, the Panini blockchain is the perfect marketplace where the world can collect without any barriers. And when you unlock those barriers, you unlock a much bigger pool of demand. demand. Now let's be honest though, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of this price appreciation can absolutely be attributed to the upcoming World Cup coming in 2026. I mean, let's be honest, we have the world's biggest sporting event with potentially one of the biggest up and coming athletes on center stage. So yeah, this can definitely drive demand. Spain is probably going to be one of the favorites. Yamal is going to be must-see TV, so the collectors around the world are definitely positioning themselves ahead of that. But here's the thing, again, the scarcity on the Panini blockchain is different than what you see in the physical world. Those 12 different Yamal NFTs that we went over earlier, out of those 12, there are a total of 867 NFTs. That's it, 867 to be collected across the world. Now think about how many collectors around the world are collecting Yamal sports cards right now. Now think, what happens when more collectors discover the Panini blockchain, only to find that there are only 867 total sports card NFTs of Lamine Yamal, excluding the golds and the white sparkles. So if the collecting demand for Yamal continues over the years, and as of right now, there's no reason to think that it won't, and the scarcity is locked in as is on the Panini blockchain, in that sense, the blockchain is actually working in your favor as the collector. Now let's zoom out for a second, because Yamal sports card NFTs isn't happening in a vacuum. His cards are telling a story, but that story is really about the Panini blockchain as a whole. The numbers coming out of the Panini blockchain in 2025 have been absolutely staggering. The platform has seen over $63 million in total sales volume this year. Get this, September alone set a record with 15.6 million for a single month. Now, what's crazy about that is all of 2024 saw a sales volume of just under 13.5 million. So September alone was more sales volume than we saw all of 2024 on the Panini blockchain. The platform itself is probably going to more than 4x year over year. For all the naysayers who say that NFTs are dead, these numbers tell a different story. And look, I get the skepticism. A lot of NFT projects have been beaten up over the past few years. Some have even died and a lot of money has been lost. But here's what's different about the Panini blockchain. They're not selling speculation on internet culture. They're selling digital versions of something that's been collectible for decades, sports cards. They are officially licensed, they have real athletes, it's a real collector's base, and it's all built on the emerging technology of the blockchain. To me, it's not a fad, it's more of an evolution, taking something that's already been collectible for decades and just moving it forward into its next phase of existence. All right, it's confession time. I've been going on and on telling you all these amazing things of the Yamal sports card NFTs, but here's the truth. I don't own any, not one. Is it one of my biggest regrets collecting on the Panini blockchain? Absolutely. Did I see the writing on the wall? Yeah, I think I did. But did I actually pull the trigger and buy any? Nope. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And today the reason is I can give you a completely objective bird's eye view of what's going on with the Panini blockchain, no skin in the game. I'm just reporting the facts and sharing a little bit of my perspective. And to me, the facts are pretty undeniable. Yamal's sports card NFT performance in 2025 is a microcosm of the success story for the Panini blockchain. And he's definitely not the only success story this year. There are many of them on the Panini blockchain. He's just the most illustrative one. Because when one of the biggest global athletes and one of the biggest global collecting communities has a year like this, it tells a story of where it's headed. So here's my ask. If you found this interesting, if this gave you a different perspective of sports card NFTs, hit the like button, subscribe, because there's not a lot of coverage in this space. And there's not a lot of people paying attention like I am to what's actually happening on the Panini blockchain. This is what I do here at Card Block. I dig into the data, I look for trends, and I try to find out what's actually happening in the digital collecting sports card NFT space. Whether you're already on the blockchain and this just gives you validation that you are in fact in the right place, or you're one of the naysayers that thought NFTs were dead, and I just give you a little perspective to think about. I appreciate you sticking around and watching this, and I'll see you next time.